All right, Shalom, Shalom. All right, Brakati Al, Bashim El Shai, Basham Rakakwadash. All right, double honors to the apostles, elders of great wisdom. Shalom to you, Hakim, pushing the work in truth and sincerity. All right, so coming back at you with another lesson. All right, through the spirit and power of Bashim El Shai, Lord willing, this is edifying. All right, becoming the testimony, or with the testimony of Yahweh Shai, is the spirit of prophecy. All right, meaning to say before. Okay, and we've been letting you know from the jump, what it was going to be. Okay. And, this devil was moving fast, really fast. All right. Okay. And he's about to move with wrath. All right. This is about to be fulfilled in our time. Okay. Because we told you who the devil was. We told you the wicked was. You ignored us. You ignored the reality. All right. The clear reality, and you decided to, pretty much distract yourselves with things in this world. All right. Of no importance. All right. Prophecy is the most important thing now, as we can see, is, speaking and not lying, as the scriptures say. Okay. I'm going to get that really quick, but I'm going to read this first. This is Revelations 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, right? Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And this is what we've been delivering time in and time out. All right. Letting you Israelites know what's coming. All right. And the message was, widely ignored. Okay. Again, you put your attention in places that it shouldn't have been. All right. You covered yourself in a certain spirit that you shouldn't have covered yourselves. All right. And that time that you tried to put off is now, it's encroaching closer and closer and closer. All right. This devil is about to speak as a dragon and has been speaking as a dragon, according to Revelations, the 13th chapter. All right. But I'm going to get that in a second. But let me get this Habakkuk chapter 2. All right. And 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right. Okay, and we can read a little bit more. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. Who is that dealing with? All right, that's dealing with the wicked. Who is the wicked in our time? Esau, Edom. All right, the so-called white man has been and always will be. All right, the devil according to the Bible, which devil is Latin for diablos, or the Latin word for devil is diablos, excuse me. All right, which means deceiver. All right, and we told you. All right, and now what he's doing now is using, public safety, or making, this place in certain places better places by bringing more of, making certain places safe by bringing more of a police presence, all right, or military presence in this case. Okay, so it says, but the just shall live by faith, because that's all we're going to have. All right, they're eventually going to cut us off from society. All right, which they're on the verge of doing as well, right at the same time, where they're, bringing a soft version of martial law, which I shouldn't say that because, again, we're in a different America. All right. This is not the America that you once knew. All right. This is a whole nother version of America. This is the real bad side of America. Right. Okay. Which, we call Babylon the Great. All right. So, and we're going to need faith to get through these times. All right. And again, this is a spiritual warfare. And, for all the elect, all the initiated, your weapon is in spirituality. All right. The only way you can fight this and navigate through it is through the spirit. So Habakkuk 2:5, yea, also because he transgresses by wine. All right. This is his, his philosophy. This is what, he justifies the principles in which he's justifying himself. All right. Okay. And the standard that he's living by. Okay. He is a proud man. All right. And who's more proud than the so-called white man. No one. It says, neither keepeth at home who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right, and this is what he's doing, because he's consolidating control, expanding his control. All right, through surveillance, through other means. All right, healthcare. All right, through food and agriculture. All right, you name it. Okay, through entertainment, they got it all locked. Okay, and so is America turning into a police state or getting safer? Right? They're using safety as a guise, as a Trojan horse, so to speak, to come in and take freedoms. Okay, and so you got a large portion of America who is all about making America great again. They sold into the mantra. All right, which that goes back to Magi, I believe. All right, which so these people being duped again. All right, so they believing that America is going to become great, but in reality, they're about to move on these so-called whites just as well. All right, but mainly now, okay, that's the future. That's when they bring in fully bring in the surveillance system, but now it's a war against Jake. All right, against Judah. Okay, and watch how fast it turns. All right, this is happening in no time. So Revelations 13. All right, and 11. Okay, the beast from the earth. Okay, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, and the two horns like a lamb is speaking about the two-party system, right? And the lamb represents innocent, all right, innocency, okay? All right, that's how they present themselves, all right? But you get more from this word horns, all right? Kyrios, Greek word.
Strong's G 2768, keros. Keros.
All right, Greek. And it says here, all right, I get straight to the point, a mighty and valiant helper, right? The author of deliverance, all right? And this is who they believe to be, all right? It says of the Messiah, all right? Because now they're posing themselves as messiahs, all right? Essentially, okay? They're essentially they're above, God in the Bible, all right? And there really ain't no place for God and when it comes to governance in this world, all right? So it's another clue and sign, all right? But they're playing the role of God now, all right? And they're coming into that role, especially because they're using artificial intelligence, all right, to be essentially be one up and be smart, all right? Okay, I call them sub-immortals because they'll never be immortal. They'll always be mortal, but through the technology and artificial intelligence, they're essentially putting themselves on a level, okay? The level of God, all right, or being a Godhead, okay? And this is what they believe is going to get them through the future. This is what they believe is going to be able to, essentially, be able to fight against God, the Most High Yahweh, and His Son Yahweh Shai, all right? And that is all too impossible, okay? Is America turning into a police state or getting safer? All right, this is from a podcast, but here I'm gonna read this article, all right, and I'm gonna read another article that just shows you how they're consolidating and expanding control, ultimately, bringing in that image of the beast, all right, and cornering every part of society, right? So here, how Trump's DC takeover could supercharge surveillance, all right? Okay, and you already got people at ground level, showing videos of, the military, on the streets, okay? So let me do this here. It's coming faster and faster, all right? So President Trump's declaration of a crime emergency in Washington, D.C., will further entwine the U.S. military, all right, and its equipment and technology, all right. And this just ain't gonna stop in D.C. All right, there's gonna be, other crises in other places, and it's gonna call for them to, essentially bring in the military, all right, and federalize, whoever they see fit, okay. And it's become as obvious, it's become as clear as day what they want, all right, especially pouring so much money and funding into, ICE, all right, to bring in, an authoritarian rule, okay. And you see what they did to, Medicaid, Medicare, all right, and all those federal, all that federal help that they were giving out, so to speak, all right, for lack of better words, okay. And so what? Now you people are going to become the enemy, all right, which we've been telling you. So again, we're in a new America, all right, okay. So it says, in law enforcement matters, all right. So they got what? Military and equipment and technology, and law enforcement matters, and they go back to what? Draconian, all right. It says, and perhaps expose DC residents and visitors to unprecedented digital surveillance, all right, brushing aside statistics that show violent crime in DC at a 30-year low. Trump on Monday described a new level of coordination between DC National Guard units and federal law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, ICE, and the newly federalized DC police force, all right, okay. And it's bad enough they already partner with Palantir to collect people's data, all right, and they've been collecting people's data for the longest, all right. But also what I wanted to add is that in some cases they're generating crises, all right. They're generating crises, all right, just like they generated the war on drugs, all right, just like they generated other things, all right. And they've been doing psychological ops or psyops, psychological operations on people unknowingly over the decades, man, all right. Everybody's part of a psychological operation, man, all right. So read a little bit more, all right, and I kind of want to be quick with this. It says, we will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and will deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy because you're being safe, you see? And this is the takeover, man. All right, this is how they're going to come in, all right, with the guise of safety. But a lot of you, MAGA freaks, or, these Edomites believe what? That they're going to be safe, but really they're giving them all their freedoms, all right, because this ain't going to go away. And this is going to be everyday life. This is going to be the norm, okay? All right, and this is how they're going to easily be able to, control society in any way they see fit, okay? All right, so read a little bit more, Salakia. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, standing beside Trump, promised close collaboration between the Pentagon and domestic authorities. Wow. All right. And they're going to start treating you like what? Like you're a terrorist overseas. And they already, essentially, got the language for it, all right, to justify it on in the headlines, okay. They call black on black, when the so-called Negroes shoot somebody else, all right, they now they calling it a mass shooting, all right, when you got, these jakes that be knocking people out, especially white people. They call it senseless crimes, and Esau's about to start coming after you, Jake, all right, Judah, okay, you so-called Negroes, you blacks, all right, they got many names for you, niggas, whatever. Choose one, and we've been telling you, all right. Okay, it says what comes next. It says the June 2020 deployment of National Guard units to work alongside DC police offers a glimpse citywide use of sophisticated intelligence gathering technologies normally reserved for foreign war zones. See? All right. And they working with Palantir to make the deal even more sweeter. All right. So you American citizens have now become what? You become the terrorists. You're going to become, and they use the word criminals to cover a wide range of, things. That's, newspeak, because even when ICE dealing with the Northern Kingdom, the Mexicans, all right, they, they're not just, picking up criminals. They're picking up regular day people. All right. So imagine, and again, this is just not going to be limited to one city. It's going to be all over. All right. It's going to be from state to state to state. And guess what the justification is going to be. All right. It's going to be all sorts of things happening, crises, generated, non-generated. All right. Crises. All right. Blackouts. All right. More rioting, more looting, more of the same of those things. All right. Okay. So, and they're going to be shutting off food. All right. All right. So let's go back. Okay. And I'm going to get this article and I'm going to just close out from there. All right. And brothers already seen this, and for those who haven't, of course, which probably it should be a few people that haven't seen this, but if everybody's paying attention, but we know that's not the case. Let's see here. All right. And by the way, I did do this lesson, and it was 30 minutes long, but it only somehow recorded 9 minutes of it, and I was in the spirit, but now it just kind of took all my steam away. All right. Look at that. Here's another one then, I guess I'll just go in the spirit. It says ICE to obtain AI technology capable of scanning people's eyes from several feet away. You see, the movie Minority Report. All right. The movie Minority Report. Now it's become, you're the movie. It's become a reality now. All right. Okay. So ICE is able to use that. All right. And very soon they're going to cut avenues of truth. Now, before, and maybe I should have just kept the video, just to show you. They wouldn't let me go on the Edamon online using this site. All right. It says I've been banned. Literally. All right. I've been banned. Okay. Let's do this real quick. Yeah, I should have shown you, but I was so hot about the video being, a third of what it was, I just deleted everything, and just started over. All right, so what I'm gonna do is go on Edamon online and let's look up anything. All right, I looked up the word draconian and it said I was banned, but now it's not. Okay, so apparently I've been lying. But anyway, let's go back. All right. All right, I guess I'll go with this one. All right, ICE to obtain AI technology capable of scanning people's eyes from several feet away. ICE is reportedly purchasing technology to scan people's eyes from several feet away. The agency issued a notice to purchase artificial intelligence technology that can scan people's eyes to locate and identify those who are in the country illegally. All right. Wow, it reminded me of the movie RoboCop. Oh, man, RoboCop. All right, the latest version, all right, where he was able to access all data, and he was able to identify criminals, all right. And so yeah, that's that is that type of setup, okay. And this is him coming down with great wrath, all right, plain as day, all right before your eyes, okay. And so they got the budget for it, they got the federal funding, and they're gonna go all out. All right, it says that the technology allows agents to capture someone's iris from 10 to 15 feet away, all right, by using the camera on their phone with an app that matches the iris with a photo they already have. You see, so wow. So people can be sending anonymous, messages in, of people, okay. And guess who's going to be helping? These regular white citizens, these regular, they call themselves Americans. You're going to have some Judites in there too, So the iris is part of your eye that everybody sees, the color. Yep, so we know that. All right. Okay. Yeah, for some odd reason, I can't find the other article dealing with the identifying yourself online. And the article was going into the TAP, and how, Esau has been, how they've been collecting data for the last 2-3 years. All right, I believe, yeah, 2 or 3 years. All right. So let's see here. And I'm sure I'm not going to be able to find it now. But again, let's end off with a scripture. All right, so let's see here. All right, 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. All right, meaning dangerous times. Okay, and Esau is bringing that danger. Okay, so, man, I wish Akim would have got the first version of this, but I pretty much made the same points as I did in the previous video. All right. Yeah, it's a lot of things that I kind of went into also, but until next time, I want to say shalom.